Alright, so I wanted to give a general sort of update, starting point, because I kind of want to do a kind of a YouTube series on this. So I'm just gonna give you like a general audio guide of what we've done so far tonight. So we've done quite a bit, put it that way. But we've basically set ourselves up as a starting point of basically letting this automate itself for now at the beginning stages. So what we have here is the game called Screeps. Screeps is a 100% automated programming game in general where you automate your colony to uh, gather resources, to build things, to defend themselves, to attack other people, to trade with people, to take over other areas. It's an MMO designed to entice programmers to automate minions, basically, in the most general terms. So, without further ado, I'll just kind of go over, what we have going on. I'll kind of try to explain. I don't know what trying to means. It's not really a word. I'll basically try and explain the basic uh, modules we have working with us right now, and explain kind of what they do. But if you want in-depth knowledge of the game, I highly suggest you check out Screeps documentation and their tutorial itself, because it will explain things so much better than I can. So, with that said, I'll say one more thing is like my knowledge is extremely limited, so I'm basically going off of what I know about what I just told you about reading the documentation and the tutorials themselves, and kind of learning as I go. So I think that is the most important thing. Additionally, if you use their Slack channel, they have an entire Slack channel with people posting, help questions, general tips, or just random tidbits and like setting up trading and stuff like that in later game. Using stuff like that will also um, help you in the long run. So, without further ado, we'll start with this window over here. So basically, what this is our room. So our room is what we control early on in the game. We start with one room and in hopes to branch out from the arrow buttons over here to other rooms and kind of take over more territory. Each room has at least one energy, uh, I guess, energy spawn or whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's an energy pool that you can pull energy from, and a controller. The controller you need to maintain and upgrade because if it degrades, which everything does in the game, over ticks, which is, as I've seen so far, is like every second or so, the game ticks, and each tick your code runs. So the controller itself degrades uh, every tick. So if you do not upgrade it, then it eventually dissolves into nothing, and you lose the room. So, excuse me. So if you lose the controller, you lose the room, and that's no bueno. You don't want that. So what you need to maintain all of this are creeps. These little guys running around doing things. All right. So the way you do all of this, which I move my mouse really fast, so just enjoy that. So all of this is over here. So this is a third-party IDE, which you can actually link with the game itself by this local folder here, right? So you have a local folder where all your scripts are held, so you can actually navigate to the folder in your own IDE to modify the scripts that your game reads. Because, as you know, if I haven't explained it well enough already, this entire game is built completely off of JavaScript. All right, so like everything you see over here, that's hopefully working and not failing miserably, is okay, good. I worry when they don't move. I get nervous, but all this is functioning off of JavaScript. So you can access this off of your own IDE, whatever your favorite flavor is. I'm currently using WebStorm because THPion, the guy that I actually learned all of the stuff that I learned from, which I'll link in the description. That's what he recommended. So I'm using what he recommended. It's got a 30-day free trial. It's really actually really nice. I don't have any complaints with it so far. So that's what I'm using, and I plan on continuing to use it post 30-day trial. Hopefully it's not too expensive. I haven't looked into that part yet. So let's kind of get into the code a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna really get like super in depth into the code. I'm kind of just basically gonna pseudo explain what it does and then move on because I don't want this to be like a super in-depth video. I just kind of want this to be like a, hey, this is what this game does, and this is what it kind of takes to get started. Uh, so don't expect this to be like an advanced tutorial because that's not what this is. So if that's what you're expecting, I apologize, and hopefully I'll have one of those later on. But for now, I just kind of want to get into the basics, so let's do that. So it all starts with your main JavaScript program, if you will. So uh, it's kind of expected that you know a little bit about JavaScript playing this game. I actually came into this game knowing very little about it and used the tutorials available in the Slack channel that I spoke about earlier. Um, Again, just throwing that out there. Uh, Basically using those as my tools to, oh, excuse me, to learn kind of what the hell I was doing, to put it simply. So it's there's a slight understanding that you should kind of know what JavaScript is in general and know how to use it before you just jump into this game. But, there's a way to play this game without having any knowledge because the tutorial is so in depth and there's tutorials externally of the game itself that will show you how to play the game, as well as like the support that you can get through their Slack channel and stuff like that. So don't feel that you cannot play this game without being an expert in JavaScript because I am by far that, and I have successfully made my colony not die yet. So that's, showing something. So it's enough talking. Let's just get into the code and let's do this. So I'll preface this by I'm on a 21 by 9 monitor, so this is kind of, it might be a little small. I apologize, and I will again quote THPion saying that most, if not all, of his code is on GitHub, so I use a lot of that as kind of a building block. I changed a little bit just based on kind of what I wanted, and you can do the same. So I'll post his, hopefully he doesn't matter, hopefully he doesn't mind, I'll post his link to GitHub in the description below as well. So if you need that, just look down there. So basically, to start here, we're just pulling our other modules that we created. So we have a prototype spawn, which kind of basically, tells the spawn that we want to create our creeps, which are the little guys with different parameters than are normally assigned. We have a harvester role, an upgrader role, a builder role, and a repairer role. Each of these do different things. Harvester grabs energy from the energy spawns and the corners down here, the little yellow things. The upgrader upgrades the controller, which continuously makes it sure that we're controlling the room. And if we upgrade to more levels, we get more construction buildings and we can build more things. The builder builds construction sites. So all these circles you see here are actually construction sites. They haven't actually been built yet. When they get built, they'll look like this down here where they're actually roads. So these are roads. Some of these in here are extensions, which are these yellow things you see here, which are actually getting filled with energy, which basically make us be able to build larger and larger creeps, larger and more efficient creeps. The repairer is an individual creep that goes around and finds these like road tiles with less than ideal hits. So every tick, the structures degrade. So at any given time, anything that has been built will degrade a tick, and these repairers run around and repair those structures. So basically, this little for loop deletes dead creeps. Every creep has I think 1500, yeah, I think like 1500 tick time to live. So once they die, you need to delete them from memory so it doesn't fill up your memory because you have an actual cap on your memory up here. So that's what that does. This basically says, you know, for every creep that we own or have built, to either, if they have a harvester, role, upgrader, builder, or repairer, it actually assigns them to the different modules that we've created. And each of these modules kind of defines what that role does. We won't really get into that in this video, but basically this sets our minimum number of each kind of role. So I wanted to be a little heavy on the harvesters because early game I think it's really important to get as much energy as you can. Uh, Additionally, at the same time, we want to have a good number of upgraders. At a minimum, we want to be upgrading the controller constantly. So, in addition to that, I kind of went one more on the builders because it was important to me to have extensions which hold extra energy that your spawn can't because you know, your spawn can only hold 300 energy, which isn't a very large creep. Uh, each body part of the creep uh, has a certain amount of energy that it takes to create that body part. So in order to create a larger, more efficient creep, you need more energy. And in order to do that, you need extensions that hold energy. So the spawn can pull from extensions. So I want my builders to build the extensions as early as possible. So I actually built in a uh, sort of a prioritized for extensions uh, loop, if you will. It's more of an if statement, but I built that in so we would try and build the extensions first, and then after that we'll kind of build the roads. For repairers, I think I figured two was a good even number to go with. Same with upgraders, and then this basically checks to see if the number of actual harvesters, builders, upgraders, and repairers and saves it to this variable that we can use down here to see if our number, our actual number, is less than the minimum that we want, and if that's the case, then we actually spawn that type. So that's basically this entire main. Currently, its entire job is to spawn what we need based off of numbers and minimums and role types. These four modules here define kind of what each role does. The harvester role is obviously grabbing energy from the spawn, the sources, and delivering it to either the spawn or the harvesters. The upgrader is mainly concerned about grabbing energy from the energy sources and delivering it to the controller. And when I say mainly, that's literally all it's worried about. The builder is worried about grabbing energy from these sources and delivering it to construction sites, which are these empty like circles. Uh, while we're here, I'll mention a problem that you should worry about when selecting your spawn point. Is each one of these energy locations, these sources, if you will, have limited number of places that the creeps can draw energy from. So if you look, there's a creep here drawing directly above it, and there's a creep here at a diagonal. There's a creep diagonal. There will be one here, right here, and there will be one diagonal. And that's it. Those are the only creeps. If all of those locations were filled at the same time, those are the only creeps that can access these energy locations. So I have a total of 5 creeps that can access these energy locations at one time. That can be a problem. That's why we need extensions. And we can build more extensions if we upgrade our controller. So currently I have 5 in the mix here. We can build more once our controller is upgraded. So finally we get to the repair, and the repair basically grabs energy from the energy sources. You can see a common denominator there. Everybody's trying to grab energy here. And it looks for already built structures like roads, but not walls, and we'll get into that later. But it looks for structures, extensions, etc. Looks to make sure, or if their hit points are lower than their max hit points, and if that is the case, then it goes and attempts to repair them. Based off of the shortest one, basically the one that's closest to it. So as far as basics, that's about it. There's a lot more as far as like knowledge you need to have about the game before you get to this point. But luckily, there's a really in-depth tutorial uh, that you can do to teach you it. If you're worried about how much Screeps is, it's the offline, I air quotes offline version, which allows you to do single player host games, stuff like that. That's $15 on Steam Early Access, but the game itself is available online. So a web browser based. You don't have to buy the game. Uh, it's better if you want to use a third-party IDE because you can. It's easier to use the local files, etc. But if you just want to play the game, you can try it out in the web browser for free. So don't worry about that. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else to point out now. I'm going to be continuing to play this game. I apologize for sniffing. My allergies are fucking up. But I'm going to be continuing to play this game, trying to automate it and make my creeps as the best possible. I didn't mention this little 0 over here. Actually, it's actually a mineral. So they have minerals that you can combine with other minerals that give you boosts to your creeps, but that gets into the trading aspect of and things like that. So it's definitely an MMO. You definitely need multiplayer uh, cooperation or non-cooperation and steal their room, etc., to actually get the best, get the most out of this game. So. With that said, I'm gonna cut it off, and if you have any questions, let me know. And if I don't know the answer, I can point you in the right direction. But hopefully, you find this as interesting as I do, and I plan on making this a series. So if you have any questions, like I said, let me know. I'll point you in the direction of the people with the answers. If I don't know the answer, and we can get you set up and hopefully build the game base. Speaking of, if you would like to know kind of what the world looks like, this is a total picture of the world that I'm currently in. I can't really zoom out any more than this. So each one of these little squares, right? These are rooms, like that room that you just saw, and this is how many rooms there are available, just to give you an idea. And this is just in this world. as far as I know, there are other worlds available as well. So, as you can see, it's actually pretty popular. So, uh, actually, I don't know how to get back to my room. So let's just, oh, there we go. I figured it out. So this is our room. So we figured that out together. So on that note, we'll call it a video, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you stop back by for more. So have a good night.